very welcome to the Man United agenda on this Thursday evening. It's not going to be quite as fighty and as battly as the Coliseum yesterday. We do have the small matter of a preview show for them Scouser lot, the ones that have been the bane and heartache of our lives for the last couple of seasons. But more importantly, welcome back, Jay Motti.
Thanks for having me on, lads. It's always a pleasure. It's been a little while. Glad to see you guys. Glad to see the channel still going strong. Yeah, man, it's one of them, innit? The Scouse is on the horizon. It's man, part of me, it's a weird one with the Scousers, right? Because part of me is like negative and worried, and oh my God, it's Liverpool, and I fear the worst. And you see what's happened over there in the past. We know we've had some horrible visits to Anfield, but then there's still that little bit of me that's deluded and thinks, you know what? We could do something here.
Why?
And that is just that? I know. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. I think I'm clutching at straws, right? I really am clutching at straws. But I think that, and forgive me if you can hear my dog in the background going a bit nuts. I think what it is Liverpool haven't been great, and I know we haven't, right? I get that. Liverpool haven't been great all season. We have actually got, right? This is the weird thing about United. Even though we've not been playing that well overall, we have actually got quite a few good players. Like, I think in the United squad, there's a lot of good players there. I do. I think when you look at players like Lenny Yoro, when you look at players like Matthijs de Ligt, when you look at players like, I like Mazraoui, like, I think Mount's having a good season, Brian Mbumo, Benjamin Sesko started scoring, Ahmad, I love. There's players there. There's match winners there. So it's not, for me, beyond the realms of possibility that United can get a result. I just think the issue is those players under this manager so far haven't really been doing it. And is Anfield the time or the place where it's going to kick on? I'm not so sure.
You mentioned all of those names, Jane. You didn't mention a central midfielder.
Well, that's a good point. I would have mentioned Bruno. I like Bruno. I've always liked Bruno. I think the issue I've got is I would have mentioned Kobbie Mainoo because I love Kobbie Mainoo and I think he's a very good player. But is he going to play at Anfield? I don't think he will. So you're right. I didn't mention the midfield. I know it was an accident not to mention Bruno because I usually mention him. But earlier in the season, I would have mentioned Kobbie Mainoo definitely. But it's pointless mentioning him now because he isn't going to start. Let me just get my dog. Sorry, one second.
Cool. No worries. I am going to say a quick hello to the people in the chat. Stephanie Griffith, Patrick Pillow, The Gaffer, Solo, Acers, Matty, Double A, Stephanie Griffiths, JP87TM, our resident Liverpool fan, Bart, who seems to enjoy United content more than Liverpool content for some reason, but hey, he's very welcome here, and JM. But Jay, before we get into the business of the preview, there was some announcements yesterday or the day before about fixtures, and we seem to have got a raw deal in those December fixtures.
Disgusting. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I think it's the one home game on a Saturday in like 3 months or something, or 2 months. I think we've got Mondays, Thursday nights and stuff. It's like, it's typical, isn't it? We know that United, despite our faults, is still the biggest draw in the country, is biggest draw on the telly. So we're just being shafted there with a few kickoff times that are unfavourable, shall we say. So yeah, it is really annoying. It just really is.
Yeah, a trip to Wolves on a Monday, coming back and having to come back from there, that's just madness.
No, it is. You're right. There's no sugarcoating it. We've been shafted. And the fact that it's one game a week, you thought of one game a week, it might be like a few Saturdays because we've not got European football, and then you end up with Thursday nights and Monday nights and Thursday nights again or whatever it is. It's just, I saw that and I was unimpressed with it. But it does feel like United have been had over a little bit there, and I think it's just Sky or whoever wanted to make as much money as they can, and they know that United games will be a big draw, so they've moved a few fixtures around. That's what it looks like to me anyway.
Yeah, and I think TNT got their mitts into us as well for right stuff.
Wow.
I just thought I'd bring that up because it was something that...
it's a good point. It's a good topic to talk about. You're right. It's
Well,
just not panning out, is it? This one game a week, the way we wanted it to so far. We'll have to see.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we've got one game a week. It hasn't improved our form. We're out of the Carabao, so that's still one game a week. And now you think, well, at least it's weekend kickoffs, and then it's like, nah, you can have Monday nights and Thursday nights. You're like, Jesus wept, what's going on here, man? Do you know what I mean? We may as well have, well, not say we may as well have because we wanted to, but we may as well be in a cup competition because we ain't getting these one game a week weekend games. It's still up in the, all of arse over tit on where it is. So yeah, it's annoying, but it is what it is, isn't it?
With this one game a week as well. Sorry.
Yeah. It is like it's still like you say that it's not as like loads of fixtures. It's just the nature of those fixtures. Obviously, the fixtures you're still going to play 38 games in a league calendar. It's just having games where people have got to travel, people have got to be up late, people aren't going to get home till like 3-4 in the morning. It ain't great.
Very true. I suppose we better get into meeting the sandwich, and as is now tradition, we start with Ref Watch, and he's a man that's very familiar to Manchester United fans. And this season, he's kind of been sticking up with yellow cards and one red card or 2 red cards, and one. And he's given away a few penalties. But I suppose what kind of sticks in the craw for us, Jay, is when Michael Oliver gave Diego Dalot one of the most farcical double yellows that we've ever seen in Premier League football.
Yeah, that was a disgrace because it was obvious to me that Michael Oliver lost his head. He got rattled because Dalot, if you look at what Dalot did, it wasn't as though Dalot had dissent, got a yellow, and then carried it on for another few minutes and then got another yellow. It was like Dalot reacted to the free kick, got a yellow for the reaction, and was still doing the same reaction when he got the second yellow. Yeah. It wasn't even, you look at the whole continuous thing that happened, the reaction lasts about 10 seconds. And within those 10 seconds, he's got 2 yellow cards. Now, the annoying thing about that is Michael Oliver lost his head for me. He got rattled, he got annoyed, and he reacted. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't, as a referee, be letting your emotions get the better of you. If you do that, you shouldn't be refereeing the game between Liverpool and Manchester United. What annoyed me, right, about that was a few weeks later, I was watching Aston Villa playing. I can't remember who were playing. I think it might have been Villa Spurs, or I might be getting it wrong. But Michael Oliver's referee. John McGinn gets a free kick, gives away a free kick, goes berserk in Michael Oliver's face. Like, as clear as the day is long. All this. Clearly swearing at him, clearly calling him names. Doesn't get a yellow. So it's that inconsistency. And it's not just that with Michael Oliver. If you go back even further, you remember that there was a time when we played City, the Etihad, where Joe Hart stuck his face in Michael Oliver. He didn't get a yellow card, didn't get anything. You remember as well that Michael Oliver was the VAR official for Eric Ten Hag's last game. Now, you can argue that with some justification, I think you guys have on the channel before, that Eric Ten Hag was a dead man walking well before that game at the London Stadium. However, 2 things can be true. Yes, he was probably doomed anyway, and that was a terrible VAR decision to award a penalty where there was I think it was Danny Ings didn't have control of the ball, didn't have control of himself really, and yet he gave a penalty against him. It gave him a penalty. It was a ridiculously bad decision. You also have the fact that Michael Oliver is a brazen Newcastle fan. He's been pictured in Newcastle shirts. Loads of Newcastle fans know him, know he's a Newcastle fan. There has been times when Manchester United and Newcastle are going for those same top 4 places. You've also got the added thing as well, where he does these games in the Middle East where he's paid by basically Manchester City. The people that own Manchester City pay him lots and lots of money to go and ref games in the Middle East. How is not all this not a conflict of interest? How is all this not showing you that this guy shouldn't be refereeing Manchester United versus Liverpool games? And that people say, oh, he's the best referee in the country. I don't think he is. I think there's better referees out there. I think the best referees are the ones you barely know. The ones that you go, I kind of recognise him, but I'm not quite sure who he is. Because you're not talking about them. A good referee is like a good DM or a good centre-back. They do the job, and you don't even barely notice them. Because a lot of the time, you might notice a player in that position when they made a mistake. You might notice a referee when he's done something controversial. You never really remember referees because they haven't done anything big. They haven't made a major decision. They haven't done anything that's controversial. They haven't done something that's upset you or angered you. If a referee just goes about his job and there's no drama, no one cares. No one remembers his name. If I said to you, who was the referee for when United played Sunderland, you probably wouldn't even remember. I can't remember.
I don't either.
We won.
Yeah, we won. There was no major incidents that I can think of. There might be one or two decisions you didn't agree with. That's the nature of the beast. But it wasn't like an outrage. Now, if Manchester United lose a football match, I'm not automatically blaming the referee. Referees are human. For starters, Manchester United can lose lots of matches without any help from the referee. We've been that poor over the last 18 months in particular. I think it'd be absolutely insane to come and blame it all on referees. However, there has been certain games where referees have badly let Manchester United down and let themselves down with some terrible decisions. And I think the biggest bugbear for me with referees is inconsistency. You've got to have more consistency because you will have referees, as we saw with the low, where you get 2 yellow cards in 10 seconds, which is just outrageous. But then you think, okay, if that's how he does it, that's how that referee operates, I can live with it. But then you see him a few weeks later with the same situation, a different team, and he's not doing that. So that's the problem there. The problem with Michael Oliver, I know I've ranted on it quite a while now, but sorry, it does annoy me, is that he's overrated as a referee. There's conflicts of interest there, and his track record is shocking.
And
that's my better half. That's Diogo Dalot's biggest fan there. Hey, she'd have said it was out of order. If Dalot had walked over to someone and chinned him, she'd have said he shouldn't have got a red card, let alone for what he got a yellow card for. She loves Dalot.
I was just going to say she's agreeing with you in a way.
She's Dalot's biggest fan, bro.
The question is, though, Jay, when we look at referees and the caliber referee that we have in the Premier League, there seems to be more people that are getting known for the 3-card trick, as a certain Mr. Pole was known for back in the day. We seem to have more controversial refs now than refs that are going under the radar and are just doing their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been at Old Trafford, right, where the refs, as he's come down the tunnel at half time or sometimes at full time, has got booed. And I've even thought to myself, I don't know why we're booing him. He hasn't done nothing wrong. Like, sometimes refs will just get stick because the game's not great, or there's one decision that you don't agree with that sticks in people's memories or whatever. Like, I get it. There's naturally fans don't tend to like referees. I think for me, the biggest sort of problem now you've got with refs, and I've been saying this for a little while, is that you're in this sort of weird situation with VAR where a lot of refs aren't making decisions because they're thinking VAR will get that. Like, I'll leave it to VAR. Like, where they would have gone, that's a penalty or that's a foul or that's a whatever. They'll go, leave it to VAR, that one. And then VAR are going, well, the ref can't give it. Is it a clear and obvious error? So there's that sort of weird situation. Now, because of VAR, we now expect everything to be perfect. And I will go back to the Arsenal game at the beginning of the season, right? I will die on this hill and I will never shut up about it. That is a clear penalty on Matheus Cunha from William Saliba. There is no debate. There's no, was it or not? He takes him out. He doesn't get the ball. It's in the box. It's a foul. It's a foul as sure as anything I've ever seen in my life. Now, the referee might miss that and you go, fine, the referee missed it. Yeah, he's only human. There's a lot going on. It's a bit daft that he has missed it because it's a big incident and he should be looking at where the passenger play is and where the ball is and whatnot. But he's missed whatever. But VAR should be picking that up and going, yeah, you won't have a look at that because there's a foul there you've missed. But we don't get that. We get, well, the ref's not give it. So is it clear and obvious he might have seen it and just decided in the foul, all right, we'll leave it. That's the problem you got with VAR, is that VAR now has raised the expectations, but in many instances, it hasn't raised the quality of refereeing. So now we're expecting things to be better. And in many instances, they're just getting worse because now you've not got the excuse of I haven't seen it, because you've got someone sat there with the same cameras we've got or the same footage we've got at home when we're watching it at home or wherever, seeing the same things we're seeing where you go, well, that's a foul, and not giving it. And that's a great point as well from Stephanie Griffith. It takes too long. How many times have you been watching a match and a goal's gone in, and you don't celebrate as much as you should because you think VAR are going to pull this back, or you do celebrate, and then you've got to wait 5 minutes to find out if it is actually a goal. I always go back to 99. Can you imagine Teddy gets the equaliser and we have to wait for 10 minutes while VAR decides whether he's offside or not? Can you imagine? And everyone's got, the sort of the excitement and the tempo just cools down because we're waiting for so long and there's a frustration and getting all the lines and it's automatic offsides, which we might be dead quick, but still aren't. And then we say, oh, it's onside, and then we carry on. Would we have got that winner from Ollie if we'd have had to wait 5 minutes? I don't know. I'm obviously exaggerating a point to make a point, but you get the idea. It kills the momentum and it kills some of the excitement of football. And it's just not made life better. And when you've got referees that aren't doing the job as well as he should do, and you've got VAR that isn't willing to contest with him or, argue with him at times, or is missing things, it's just ruining the fan experience. It really is. Whether you're in the stadium or out of the stadium, it's just not a good look.
Absolutely. And as Colin points out, there's a bit of a boys' club there as well with the referees because they're kind of thinking maybe Jay's going to be in the VAR room next week. I better agree with his decision.
Do you know what? Mike Dean said it, didn't it? Was it Mike Dean? Sorry, I might be mixing up my referees. There was a referee who got interviewed. It was either Mike Dean or it might Mark Clattenburg. I know they don't look like each other, but there's a referee who basically said he knew the referee got it wrong. He was on VAR, but he didn't call him to the monitor because he didn't want him to get a load of grief from the fans.
Yeah.
I can't remember. If anyone in the chat remembers who it was, but he basically said, I knew he got that one wrong. But I knew if I called him to the monitor, the fans are going to be on him because they're going to say you got it. Even though he could go to VAR and give the right decision, it's going to cause him more ag. So I'll just leave it. Right. How is that fair? How is that right? You're literally not doing your job.
Absolutely. I think we'll be forever frustrated with VAR. I'm not sure will they ever get it right in the Premier League football. But I suppose we'll move along and we'll start with the head-to-head. Now, myself and Mr. B were looking at this about a half an hour ago, and we have struggled to score in Anfield in the last 5 occasions we visited. We've got 0 goals there, Jay.
It's good.
Is that a concern?
What? So when's the last time we scored at Anfield?
It's before 2018.
See, someone was saying this the other day, right, about the game, when was it? And I thought I was wrong. Like, it was saying, yeah. So, sorry. I'm just having a look now. So, obviously, you've got the thing there. Yeah, I thought it'd been a while. Yeah, we haven't scored at Anfield since what, 2018?
2018.
In the Premier League, at least. I didn't include cup games, but it's a long time since we scored in the league there.
Well, we scored 2 last season, yeah, as people are pointing out.
Jesus,
so we scored 2 last season there. We should have won it. Other than that, though, I think you have to go back, other than the 2-2 to 2018 is probably what you're getting at, if that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
So the overall record isn't great at Anfield in terms of goals. That's an understatement. I think we scored 3 goals there in like 8 years or something. And I think the last time we won there was 2016, was it? Wayne Rooney. So, I mean, when did Wayne Rooney leave United for starters? That says a lot. Like the record at Anfield is abysmal, and if we don't win this time, it'll be 10 years at least, because obviously we can't play before 2026 at Anfield again, or less. Well, yeah, we can't. So, yeah, 10 years without a win at Anfield would be disastrous. I mean, even when United were winning everything and Liverpool was struggling, they could still get the odd result at Old Trafford. But United have just been very poor at Anfield. The only sort of positive, if you can call it a positive, I can say, is I think we've drawn the last 2 games there. I think it was 0-0, 1-8, and 2-2. So that's not terrible, but it's not time to get the bunting out, is it? We drew at Anfield twice. We need a result, man. The funny thing is, I'm going to slightly contradict myself here. If we got a draw this time round, I think a lot of people will be celebrating that, because it'll be like, look, we got a draw. We've been shocking. They've until recently been doing well. and they're the reigning champion, so it's not the end of the world getting a draw at Anfield, especially for a manager who's under a bit of pressure. So I actually think a draw wouldn't be a bad result at all this time round.
Yeah, and just to bring up the league table, because we tend to do that, it's not really that significant at this early stage of the season, but we both had 3 wins and 2 losses in our last 5.
Yeah, Liverpool are having a bit of a sticky patch, aren't they? The funny thing with Liverpool, right, is they were actually playing badly earlier in the season. So I watched was it the Bournemouth game? And I think they won 4-2 in the end. But I think it was 2-0 up, then it was 2-2. It looked like Bournemouth, were on it. And then I think Liverpool got a winner, and then they might have even got on 4th. I can't remember, but they won anyway. And what is it? The Newcastle game, a late winner there, I think, for him. The Arsenal game was a terrible game of football, but it was a fantastic free kick, to be fair, to the kid Soberslai. But they haven't been playing that well. And then all of a sudden, they lost to Galatasaray, they lost to Crystal Palace, they lost to Chelsea. It's like they were getting away with it for a bit with poor performances but getting results. And now they're having poor performances and not getting results. And you could argue that the international break kind of came at the right time for them because it gives them a chance to go, hang on a minute, let's just reset, get our act together, and, we can sort ourselves out. And for United, I mean, I'd hardly call 1 win momentum, but it kind of is for us, isn't it? Killed our momentum in the international break because we were on a roll of 1 win.
And actually, there's a couple of players that haven't played in this fixture before. Brian Mbeumo, Matthias Cunha, Benjamin Sesko, the new signings for United, Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, and Florian Wirtz for Liverpool. And obviously, Wirtz is getting a lot of stick, Jay, in the media because he's got no goal-scoring contributions registered to his name. And it looks like, in terms of the performances, they're kind of evenly matched in terms of the new signing contributions.
Yeah, I think I've been impressed with Hugo Ekitike. To be fair, he looks like he's been amongst the goals, hasn't he? So I think in the Charity Shield he looked good. He's certainly not phased about moving to Liverpool, and he looks like that player that they were hoping he would be. Was it Frankfurt they got him from?
Yeah.
And then you look at Alexander Isak. He's not quite got going yet. I know he's not been there long, but he's not really looked like the player he was at Newcastle. But I expect him to be fine because he's got Premier League experience. He's a phenomenal footballer as well. Alexander Isak really impressed me when we played Newcastle. And then you've got Florian Wirtz, who so far has been a flop. Now, it's only early doors and he can turn it around. He gets the winner against United and everyone will love him. But he has not looked anywhere near a £120 million player. He's not looked anywhere near the player that we saw at Bayer Leverkusen. He just hasn't. So it's been a mixed bag for them. I think Ekitike's looked good. And also, you've not included in that graphic. I'm not saying you made the graphic. I'm just saying that graphic doesn't include Jeremy Frimpong, who struggled.
Yeah.
He doesn't look, again, like the player we saw in Germany. And even, bizarrely, Milos Kerkez doesn't look like that player that they had, that you saw it, was it Bournemouth? Where I was impressed with him. And I was annoyed when they got him because I thought he's a player. I think he's an improvement on Andrew Robertson. And he's looked poor this season. He's looked out of sorts. So other than Ekitike, I think all their signings have struggled a little bit. And then you look at United, Cunha's not quite got going, has he? We've seen glimpses. We know what he's about. He's exciting. I like him. Not really seeing what we saw at Wolves just yet. And then you've seen Benjamin Sesko started scoring 2 in his last 2. Can't fault that. If he's going to score 2 goals, I want him to have scored in the last 2 games, which is what he's done. And Brian Mbeumo, who he might not have loads of goals or assists, but I've been impressed with the kid.
Yeah,
I think he's mint. I like him. I agree with you. And it's not just because he's got a beard as good as yours. It's because when he gets the ball, he's the type of player that you used to take for granted at United. When he gets the ball, he's got one thing on his mind. Get it forward. Make things happen. And not just in a Alejandro Garnacho, get your head down and run way, but who can I bring in? How can I make something happen? I like that. He always wants the ball and he's always trying to create something, but he isn't overly greedy or stupid with his decision making, which Garnacho could be at times. So I do like the signings we've made. Again, like Liverpool, we've had a bit of a mixed bag. I think overall, though, we've seen a real quality from all of them. And I just I wonder now. I know we'll get into it in a little while, but I just wonder whether Cunha is going to have to fight to get himself in this team, because Mount seems to have leapfrogged him in the team. And Mount had a good game against Sunderland, fits his system very well. And I just wonder with Cunha now where he's thinking, right, how do I get myself? I know it's only one game, but I do feel like I would expect Mason Mount to keep his place for the game at Anfield.
Absolutely. Now, I will preface this now. I did grab a Liverpool expected 11 from a Liverpool fan on Twitter, because I'm not going to deep dive who I think Arnie Slot's going to put up. But obviously, they've got the new goalkeeper with Alisson out injured. Bradley, they're expecting to start on the right-hand side. Van Dijk, Konate, who's been absolute cheeks this year, Konate.
Yeah.
Kirkes, there's questions over Gravenbach and whether he's going to be injured or not.
Yeah, because Gravenberch came back early, didn't he? So they worried about him.
Szoboszlai, he's obviously been fantastic as of late, and he was thanking Trent Alexander-Arnold for giving him the free kicks by buggering off. And then Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, and Ekitike. And I'd be wondering what this Liverpool fan was thinking, because they're leaving, was it £100 million Isak sitting on the bench twiddling his thumbs? So I'd be curious to see who pays the price for the expensive signings. But Jay, the person I want to ask you about is Cody Gakpo. He seems to be the tormentor in chief for Liverpool at the moment. He's ranked first in chances created in open play, first in chances created, first in line breaks, first in touches in the box, first in expected assists, first in shots. And even in the Premier League, he's ranking top 5, 6 in all those categories.
Yeah, it's weird because in many ways, I thought Gakpo might be the one that makes way, because Isaac might start, Ekitike starts, Wirtz starts. They might go, right, well, Gakpo's the one that's not come in this summer and cost us a load of dough. So do we take him out? But in terms of form, you can see it there. Expected assist, chances created, all the rest. He's looked good for him, Cody Gakpo. He has. So it'd be interesting to see what Arne Slot does. Is he going to rest or rotate one of his star players or his new signings? He could do. The advantage Liverpool have got, of course, they've got European football. So if you're dropping someone, I know the game against United is still the biggest game in the season for the Scousers, regardless of what they say, it just is. But they've got a lot more games than we have. They've got Champions League football. So you're going to get games thick and fast, where at United, if you're not playing one week, you've got to wait another week till you get another game, which is why it's a little bit different. So I wouldn't mind if Gakpo doesn't start from a United point of view, because I think he's been good for him. And I think that might be a bit of a mistake to take your informed player out just because he's not a new, big, shiny new toy signing. But they've got quality there. And the worry with Liverpool across the front is that whilst Florian Wirtz hadn't got going, we know what he can do. We saw what he can do in Germany. Whilst Alexander Isaac hasn't really got going yet, we know what he can do. And we've seen it from Ekitike as well. So I almost feel like, and don't get me started on Mo Salah, because that just depresses all. You know, they've got good options. There's not really one there where you go, can't believe he's playing. He's crap. I wish there was. But there isn't. And whilst they've not quite hit the form that they had last season, some of these players in their other clubs, they're still capable of producing moments of magic.
Absolutely. Chat Sports is suggesting that Trent leaving hasn't been great for Salah. They had a good understanding. Although you would question whether or not defensively it's probably better that Trent isn't there, because they were both very attack-minded.
I mean, it's a weird one with Salah, because I say this almost every year. Is this going to be the season where he tails off, where he drops off? Because he's a 33-year-old winger, is he? And ever since he turned 30, I think we've all been looking at it going, okay, usually when wingers get to 30, I know he's not a winger like a Ryan Giggs style, with chalk on his boots, but he's an, inverted winger or whatever you want to call him. Usually when they get into the 30s, they're not as prolific if it's a goal-scoring player like Mohamed Salah. But he's not. And last season, he was probably as good as he's ever been. And he helped them win the title. And they wouldn't have got anywhere near a title without his goals. And I feel like a lot of these signings, although they're not players that necessarily play Mohamed Salah's position, I feel like Liverpool have gone, look, we can't wait on it. He's not going to be around forever. We need to go out and get some other attackers who can score goals. Because a lot of clubs would have gone, right, Ekitike, Wirtz, let's leave it at that. But they didn't. They went, no, let's get Alexander Isak as well for 100 million. So they're obviously sort of planning for a post-Mohamed Salah Liverpool side. I just hope that, I hope that both him and Van Dijk are coming towards the end. I hope this is them sort of, I hope this is their Rio Ferdinand at QPR. Yeah.
Absolutely. I suppose defensively speaking, they're probably there to be got at. And I suppose before we talk about United, it was my turn to predict the 11. So we're going to throw this up here.
Let's see it, Rebel.
So obviously I've gone with Lamens in goal. He's better than Bandier already from what we've seen, but it's only one game. Then I'm going with the Rolls Royce Yarrow.
Can't compare with that one. I won't disagree with you there.
Matthias de Ligt, I think it speaks for itself. He's the anchor in the middle at the moment of that back three, so he has to get in there. And because Martinez is missing, I think we're stuck with playing Luke Shaw there, even though I don't think he's been great this season. Dorgu is going to start on the wing. And then on the other wing, it's going to be Diego Dallo. I think we're definitely short of options there, and I would like to see maybe Leon getting a chance at some point. I've gone for Kobe Mainoo because I think we need a bit of legs in midfield. I think we have to get him in there because there's not enough pace with Casemiro. Even though he's obviously more experienced and can read the game well, he needs an engine beside him. And as a result, that pushes then Bruno Fernandes up into the 10th spot with Brian Mbeumo.
Oh, it was Mbeumo. Okay.
And then leading line, obviously, it's going to be Benjamin Sesko.
You know what? I could live with that team, I could live with that team, but I don't think that'll be the team we see. And I'll tell you why. I don't think he's going to start Kobe Mainoo. I just don't. I think if he was going to start Kobe Mainoo, he'd have done it by now. I know he started him against Grimms, but he hadn't had the Premier League start, and I don't think he's going to go, right, you're in at Anfield. I think he'll stick to what he's been doing. I also don't think he'll drop Mason Mount. He won't. I just don't. I think he's a little bit stubborn, Ruben Amorim. And I don't think he's going to start. You know what? Right, I'm going to move Bruno out of this position that everyone's moaning about. I'm going to put Kobe Mainoo in there because everyone's saying I should do that. I just don't think he'll do that. Defensively, I think you might be right. Maybe he could go with Maguire, or maybe Mazraoui could come in, but that makes sense. I do think Casemiro will start. I do think Bruno will start, but I think that'll be the double pivot. And I think the front three will be Mount, Mbeumo, and Sesko. And I think it'll be Cunha that misses out. However, if it was up to me, Kobe would be in. I think Kobe against Liverpool's done very well against him. I think he's a talented footballer, and it pains me that we can't find a way to fit him into this team. I think it's kind of ridiculous. And I think it's a bit square pegs in round holes with Bruno in the deeper role. You're asking too much of Casemiro when you've got Bruno next to him, because Bruno isn't as disciplined in that role. He doesn't stay just in the midfield. He pushes forward, and that obviously at times leaves Casemiro on his own, and he's overexposed. The one positive when Mason Mount starts is that Mason Mount does drop back a lot and helps out in midfield, and he's energetic. But yeah, I worry about that midfield, the midfield that we have, that we'll choose, how we're going to cope against a midfield that's not amazing. I think, is it Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch? They're good players, but they're not like this array of midfield talent. I think Liverpool's strength isn't necessarily in their midfield. I think their strength last season was the defenders they had and the attackers they had. But I just think, I just think it might be a bit difficult if you've got that double pivot that we rely on, and one of them is Bruno, who likes to push forward, and the other one is a 33-year-old whose legs aren't what they used to be.
Do
And
you blame Bruno for that? For him not being able to board, do you blame Amorim?
I think Amorim is the one who's made this decision. I think it's on the manager. I do think that there's an argument that maybe Bruno could be a little bit better at adapting because he's talented enough, Bruno, to be able to adapt to almost any midfield position. I mean, you're not asking him to play in goal. You're asking a player that plays in a 10 to play in a 6. It's not that outrageous. And at times, he's more like an 8. But it's not ideal. And I think as a 10, Bruno is fantastic. And I think as a deeper midfielder, as a 6, he's okay. He's all right. We see glimpses, but you lose a little bit of something from him. So in answer to your question, Mr. B, if I was to do it like a equation, I blame Bruno about 30% and I blame Amorim about 70% because I think ultimately the manager should look at it and go, not quite the one for that one. It's just a bit weird, isn't it? Because we seem to have this sort of abundance of number 10s. Ahmad can play there. Bumo can play there. Mount can play there. Cunha can play there. Bruno can play there. You've got 5 number 10s. And yet we haven't really got any number 6s that are at the level that we need. Like Casemiro, he's 33. Like I said, his legs aren't what they are. Ugarte, if I'm being kind, the jury's out. If I'm being unkind, he's not good enough. Mainu, is he a 6? He can work there, but he needs someone alongside him who's got legs, and we haven't got that. So it's a bit baffling what the United's transfer ideas were this summer. It was a little bit like, I don't know. I think part of the problem, if you can call it a problem, was there was maybe an expectation that Mount wouldn't be as effective and as fit as he has been. Because Mason Mount's not a player you can rely on, is he really? Over the last 2 years, he's been injured almost constantly. But now he's not been. Now he's sort of showing signs of fitness that we saw when he went back from Derby to Chelsea. So yeah, it's just a really weird situation we find ourselves in where I look at those number 10s and I go, Bruno, mint. Bumo, mint. Cunha, mint. Ahmad, mint. Mount, mint. You've got all these number 10s that are class. And yet you're looking at the midfield and you're going, but the midfield looks fucked. It's weird.
Can you just say that again for Mr. V? Because I'm blue in the face from telling him this.
Get lost, Rebel. Get lost, Rebel.
It's strange though, isn't it? When you look at like the makeup of the team and the fact that you've got someone like Cunha who costs 62 million who probably won't start at Anfield. You've got Ahmad who probably, when he played in number 10 last season was fantastic. Probably won't start at Anfield. Certainly won't start. I'd be surprised if he started as a number 10. He might start as a wing back, but he might not start at all. It's just strange, isn't it? I find it. Oh, you got Bruno, who's an amazing number 10 and has been literally the most effective number 10 in Europe for the last 5 years, and you've got him playing as a 6. It's just weird.
There was one interesting question from Double A. He's saying, Cass being in Korea and Japan, could that affect him starting? Could that necessitate a recall for Ugarte? Well, he did mention Ugarte, I'm adding that part.
I mean, it might do. Ugarte started at the Etihad, didn't he? I know Casemiro did as well, I think. Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember how that, the makeup of that midfield. I think it was Ugarte and Bruno, wasn't it? So he has picked Ugarte for big games before. So yeah, maybe he does that. Maybe brings in Manu Ugarte and Casemiro is rested. I don't know, man. I just feel like we could do with that extra body in midfield. I really do.
Yeah. As Mr. B always keeps telling me, he's not going to change his system and he's not going to put 3 people in midfield.
No.
I agree. I don't think he will. I think you're right, Mr. B. I don't think he'll move Bruno out of that one of those 2 pivots, and I don't think he'll play 3 midfield, and I don't think he'll change his system. I think he's going to die on this hill. Literally, he will get sacked on this hill if he has to.
I want to ask a question, Jay, actually. Sorry, Mr. B, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. It's just obviously about the Bruno situation. Obviously, Ruben talks a lot. I think he's quite honest in the questions when people ask him questions. And obviously, we all want Kobe to play. I just want to think about your opinion, the fact that he said Kobe is Bruno's rival for the position, and the fact that he's just never going to get a start. One, Bruno doesn't get injured. Bruno doesn't get dropped. I know one of the games he came on for him on 70, maybe 75 minutes. And I know Yabba was saying, oh, it's good because he's been given the 15 minutes. But it's not really a fair fight in regards to what Hobby's doing. You know, you see him on social media, you know, they have their training sessions and their one-on-ones. But throughout the summer, he looked like he was working hard with Euro, to be fair. He doesn't strike me as one of those players who is going to kick up a stink. But it must get to a point where you just feel that it's not even worth. I don't need to become demotivated at Manchester United, and I can see it getting to the stage where he just becomes totally demotivated and says, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because with Kobe Mainoo, you look at it, you go, right, you're 20 years old and you've got a 33-year-old in front of you, or in Casemiro. I know I'll get to the Bruno point in a minute, but you go, look, Casemiro's 33. You guys, we don't know what's going to happen with him. Bruno's in his 30s. There's the possibility that you could be here for the next 10, 15 years. These guys won't be. So if you stick around, you could get back into this team and be the long-term option. But like you mentioned there, the managers came out of this weird, almost odd statement, because he kind of contradicted himself a little bit as well, where he said Mainoo, you know, Mainoo is an option, a backup to Bruno almost, or it's Bruno or Mainoo. And then later on, he sort of said, well, they can play together. And we've seen them play together, so we know they can. But he did mention it twice in two separate press conferences, this idea that Kobe Mainoo and Bruno, Kobe Mainoo getting aside when Bruno's not available, or taking over from Bruno if Bruno gets dropped or subbed. We saw it against Chelsea where Bruno came off for like last 3 minutes and Mainoo came on for him. But you literally saying to a young player in a World Cup year, a player that played in the Euros final, a player that was playing for England regularly in that tournament after breaking the team, a player that was playing for Manchester United whenever he was fit, almost from the age of 18 until recently, that the only way he's going to get into this team is if the one player in all of European football who never misses a game. Like Bruno Fernandes is your captain, he's your most experienced player, or one of your most experienced players. He's arguably your best player. He never gets injured. His injury record is freakish. I have never seen it before in my life. I've been watching United almost as long as you guys. I have never seen a player, an outfield player, who misses as few games as Bruno Fernandes. It's just weird. He should be studied. Like, someone should be getting his DNA and going, what is going on with this guy? How can you play every minute of almost every game and never get injured playing in midfield in the Premier League? It's ridiculous. But he is that guy. So what message are you sending out to Kobe Mainoo? I don't know what the wisdom in that statement was. I don't know why he did it. I think it was a misstep, really. I think if you think that, maybe you don't have to share that. Maybe you speak to the player and you tell him, look, there's a role for you in this team. It might be a bit more long-term than you want, but you are going to have a role in this team. But to say the only way you're getting in this team is if the guy who never, ever gets dropped and he's never injured, is injured or dropped, was weird to me. I didn't think it served anyone any good. And it didn't even serve Ruben Amorim any good, because a lot of fans love Kobe Mainoo, and then everyone's going, why has he said that about Kobe Mainoo? This is ridiculous. It's getting the manager undue stick. It's creating a narrative of Bruno versus Mainoo, which doesn't serve anyone any well. And it's making Kobe Mainoo feel like he hasn't got a place in this team, no matter what he does.
Very true. Jay, I just want to touch briefly on the origins of his system, because there was an article, I think it was The Athletic wrote it, where they said that when he started his managerial career, he was operating a 4-4-2 system and he wasn't working for him. And he changed to this system that he deploys now, and he stuck with it. Is that a era of stubbornness and a lack of willingness to adapt that he's shown for his entire career? Because he's traveled a long way from whatever league he started in, playing this 3-4-2-1 or whatever you want to call it system, to Manchester United in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, managers will often do what they know has worked for them. And I think the truly great managers are the ones that adapt. So Alex Ferguson changed. I watched the Ferguson era in its entirety. And that team that you saw in 1993, when it won the first title, was not the same system and tactics and formation as you saw in 2013. Nor was it the same formation you saw in 2008 nor is it the same for every game. I've seen Fergie play 3 at the back. I've seen Fergie play 4-4-2. I've seen him play 4-3-3. I've seen him play 4-5-1. I've seen him play almost every formation you can think of. In certain seasons, I've seen United set up 3 or 4 different ways during the course of the season. So he could always adapt and change, Fergie. That's why he's the greatest manager of all time. And I think managers need to be able to do that. And I think what's happened with Ruben Amorim is he's had success with this system. So in his mind, he's like, look, this is the system that is going to get me success at Manchester United because it got me success at Sporting. So it's not for me to change it. It's for these lot to learn it. It's for these lot to adapt to it and these lot to do better within it. Now, I have some sympathy with Ruben Amorim in the sense that I don't care what system you're playing in. Your goalkeeper shouldn't be throwing the ball into the back of his own net. That's not a system problem. Yeah. You could play 0-0-10 as your formation, and that doesn't mean your goalkeeper should be literally chucking the ball in the back of his own net, which is what we've seen happen to Ruben Amorim's teams over the last year. So that's not his fault. Then you've also got other errors that ain't system-based. Bruno Fernandes missing 2 penalties ain't because Bruno Fernandes is playing in a 6. He's not taking a penalty from the centre spot. He's taking a penalty where he took penalties from and scored nearly every one under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and yet he started missing them all of a sudden quite regularly. That's not on Ruben Amorim and his system. That's a player not doing what they should be doing. So I do have some sympathy because it's not all about the system, but some of it is. Some of it is. Some of it you can see there's a gap in midfield. You're getting overrun. And the biggest gripe I've got with Ruben Amorim isn't even necessarily about the system. It's this constant moving people about in the middle of a game. Constant confusing people. Look, I don't want to disparage footballers, right? I know a few footballers and I know a lot of ex-players and the good lads, whatever. But a lot of footballers, they're not geniuses. They're not the brightest sparks. You give them simple instructions, they'll follow him and they'll do them very well. But if you're telling a player, go out and do this, and then 5 minutes later you're telling, go and do that. And then 5 minutes after that, you're saying, right, move over there now. And you're telling a winger, right, you're not a winger today, you're a wing back. Actually, no, you can go just play off the striker. Actually, 5 minutes later, I need you in midfield. It's confusing. And you saw it against Brentford, where at one point, I think you had Mason Mount at left wing back, Brian Mbeumo at right, or in centre mid. You had Kobe Mainoo as your tech. It was a mess. It was like, what is going on here? So I think part of the problem with Ruben Amorim is you just need to calm down with all these changes a little bit in the game because it's just getting mad confusing. And I think we're seeing some weird substitutions and stuff and changes where it's like, right, I'm going to change both 2 of my centre backs now, which is one of his go-to sort of thing. Right, I'm going to put this guy at wing back. I'm going to put this guy at centre back. And it's like, it gets a little bit confusing. As a fan watching it, I get confused. If you say to me halfway through the second half, where's he playing? I might be like, well, he was one of the 10s, but I think he's gone to the 6. Oh, hang on a minute. No, now he's gone to wing back. I mean, you look at the Grimsby game. I think for the Grimsby game, which we lost, you had Mason Mount as a left wing back. He's a lot of things, but he ain't a left wing back. Like, it's just too confusing. So the system is a bit of a problem. I get that. Players not doing the jobs is another problem. And also, too many changes during the game is a problem for me because I just think it gets too confusing. And I think it actually helps the opposition. If you're an opposition player, right, you're a team, and you're set up a certain way, and everyone knows their job, and everyone's doing their job, then it doesn't matter whether, yes, it can change you slightly if you're facing up to Brian Mbeumo or it changes to Ahmad in the 10 and you're facing them or whatever. I get that. But if you know your job and your system, you stick with it, it's usually happy days. If you're facing a team where they're changing so much, they're just getting confused, it helps you. It doesn't hinder you. It doesn't make your life any more difficult. It makes their life more difficult. And you saw it against Grimsby. You saw it against Brentford. You saw it against Fulham at one point where it just looks a bit of a mess.
Absolutely. I suppose it is coming to that part of the show where we're going to get people to put their score predictions in the chat. But while they're doing that, and before we give ours, Jay, I've one...
Sorry, my dog's just found a pen. So I'm just
Is
like, apologies. That was a pen.
he free to play striker tomorrow?
Yeah, nice. Sorry.
While they're getting the score predictions in the chat, and before we give ours, Jay, obviously we've been reading a lot of speculation and been watching share prices rise over the last couple of days. Do you think there's anything to it, or do you think it's a lot of hot water for a quick share bump?
Do you know what? I don't often say this. I don't think I've ever said it on this channel, but genuinely, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. Like, I have a share in Manchester United. When I say I have a share, I spent sweaty quid on a share a few years ago. Yeah, I don't think it's a share. It's like, a half a share or whatever 20 quid gets you. And I noticed I'm 11p up finally on my share. So, oh no, now I'm down. I'm down 1980 now. I was up. It was £20.11. I should have sold yesterday. And now it's down 1980. I don't know, lads. I'll be honest with you. I don't know whether it means there's there's going to be a sale, investment. I don't know if it means anything. I could not tell you. It's pure speculation. Obviously, I hate the Glazers. I want them gone. The jury's out on Ineos. Are they going to be the heroes of this story? I don't know. So far, they've done some things I agree with, other things I don't agree with. But in terms of what this share fluctuation means, what is going to happen, I don't even think the people that own Manchester United know.
No.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think the Glazers know. I don't think Ineos really know. I think they don't know whether they're about to sell or would sell if a big offer came in. I don't think they know, so I certainly can't predict it. I just wish the Glazers were gone and that we could get back to being a club that isn't saddled with all this debt and just, hemorrhaging money in a stupid way.
Absolutely. I suppose that does bring us to our score predictions. And Jay, seeing as you're the guest, we'll let you go first.
I'm going to let my heart rule my head. And I'm going to go for United win. Yeah, sack it. Why not? Let's have a bit of delusion. Yeah. It's Friday night. No, it's not. It's Thursday night. See, my head's gone already. Like Solo, yeah. Been listening to Solo too much. It's Thursday night. The weekend's almost there. I'll go 1-0 United.
Ooh. Mr. B.
The substitute Kobe Mainoo with the late winner.
Yeah, you've been yabbified tonight, boy, I tell you.
Yeah, mate, honestly. You was on to bad one with my prediction when I got the day wrong. You know what I mean? Don't be listening to me.
I've been fooled. I've been duped too much this season. The Chelsea game, I think, just for whatever reason, I was convinced that we were going to win the Chelsea game, which we did. What game did we lose after that? What game did we play after the Chelsea game? Whatever game it was anyway, that's the one that was the final straw for me. I have no confidence.
That was Brentford, wasn't it?
Yeah, Brentford. I have no confidence in anything that Ruben's going to do.
Fair enough.
I think if they win, it's going to be maybe not so much because of Ruben's formation. I think it's going to be because of the players, the individual class of the players. I don't see us winning the game. And the fact that Rebel, you depressed me, showed me the last 5 years results, mate, and we haven't scored a goal. I would take a 2-1. We'll score to get that monkey off our back, but I don't see us outscoring Liverpool at Anfield. So I'll take a narrow loss, 2-1.
Before I give mine, I'm going to embody my inner Yabba first. Hold the game. Harry Maguire, commanding the centre backs. Rich bash spot, 1-0. Harry Maguire with the winner.
Almost happened last season. Almost did.
To be fair, you gone 1-0. Have you really gone 1-0, Rebel?
No, that's Yabba's prediction.
Oh, gonna say bloody hell.
And my prediction, I don't think we're keeping a clean sheet. I don't think they're keeping a clean sheet. Kirkes and Canati are there to be got at. 1-1. Benjamin Sesko for us and Ikatika for them.
I would love Sesko to score again. just to continue that.
Yeah, I like that.
Continue that run. Just to continue that run. I want Sesko. I want him to score. He changed. You could see he looked like a different animal after that first goal went in. So I want him to carry on now.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Get a bit of a run going.
Yeah.
Happy days.
A striker who who people fear. He's never going to be, Haaland, but we're playing teams and they're saying, "Oh shit, Sesko's starting." That's what I want to hear from opposition. "Oh shit, Sesko's starting." Then he's doing a good job.
Nah, definitely, man. That's it. And we're seeing signs out. We're seeing signs with him, like you say, 2 in his last 2, and you can see him on the ball. How good he is. There's a player there. He's very, very good in the air. I think he's finding his feet at Manchester United, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. I suppose that is bringing us to the end of the previous show. But Jay, as always, thanks for coming on. But you need to let people know where to find you.
Yeah, you know where to find me. Always on Stretford Paddock every day. Talk about Manchester United, obviously. So, yeah, if you get the chance, check us out. But look, you probably know a lot of people. I did a community post. A lot of people may have come over from Stretford Paddock today who are watching this. So if you have done, make sure you subscribe to these guys. Doing really good stuff. I've always enjoyed coming on this channel. I've been coming on this channel for years. And it's always good chatting to the guys. And the time just flies whenever I'm on here, man. I love it. So make sure you give them a subscribe.
Thanks very much, Jay. And there is an incentive actually to subscribing. I know the Robson jersey is gone. That's been given away. But when we reach 4K, we are giving away one of these United shirts to whichever one they choose. And should they choose, they can have a name and number on the back. But I think most people of our generation, we don't bother with that malarkey anymore. We just go for the plain background.
You said malarkey. I haven't heard that word in years. Jeez, Rebel man.
Yeah. You look at it and say shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep shenanigans out of it. It's time my belly's rumbling.
Shenanigans. Malarkey and shenanigans.
But, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. We hope we'll be smiling come the end of that game on Sunday. But as always, we have been the Man United Agenda. We'll be back tomorrow with the Premier League Mix Zone, hosted by Mr. B. But for us, it's a good night.